So one of the questions I've had is, where is Rocksteady? Where is Rocksteady? They, of course, made a game that we talked about a lot. I was going to say that we all know and love, but we talked about it. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. We talked about this a whole lot. They made this, and this dropped. Was it February? I think it was February of 24. It's been a minute, dude. Yeah, no, January 30th of 2024 was the initial launch, and then February 2nd was the official launch. Early access was January 30th. So it's been 2 years. How crazy is that, fam? 2 years. Time flies when you're having fun. But, or not, I guess. But this game dropped, and since then, Rocksteady's just been AFK, totally silent. We don't know what they're doing. Really, really bizarre. And I've tried to do some digging and some covert digging to figure out what exactly is going on. But basically where we're at, they are currently placed in a really precarious position, okay? I signed up for job listings. I tried to find information about people they were hiring. So like, for example, Careers Code, you can go to their website and find these job listings. So Rocksteady's looking for an enthusiastic and talented senior gameplay programmer working on core gameplay such as combat and enemy AI. This is a highly creative role that will allow you to work alongside world-class developers for the sole purpose of creating awesome next-generation games. But these job postings I looked up are like all from like 2 years ago. They go back, they just haven't cleared them out. You can even see on their website is copyright 2024. This is like an official Rockstar website, okay? Official Warner Brothers Games studio, and they have not updated their website or recertified it since 2026. Or 2024. It's been 2 years. Year and a half, 2 years, whatever. And so I kept digging. I tried to find any information from some of the developers, some of the team members to suggest what they're working on. And there's just nothing. There's been a little bit of reporting. You can also check out their like Twitter page, and there's just nothing. Last posting was October 3rd of 2025. They won a Best Place to Work in the UK award. Who knows what they're actually working on. They did a Remember This from 10 years ago back in June for Batman Arkham Knight. Other than that, Best Places to Work award, but like this is the only stuff they've been posting, okay? That's all they've got. When you dig into other stuff though, you will find that it's been reported a couple of times that they've gone through a few waves. So after they put out Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, they kind of went radio silent for a bit, but then it was reported by Jason Schreier that they had been reassigned. Okay. So one of the things they were reassigned with was a big drop of new content that was coming to Hogwarts Legacy. It was going to be a big expansion that effectively was going to add in one of the cut quests for the Ravenclaw house that was removed from the base game, and they were going to build that in, add some new systems and some new stuff going on. You can see Avalanche was working on the planned expansion with London-based Rocksteady Studios, which developed last year's failed Suicide Squad game. Part of the plan was to restore the storyline tied to one of the original game's companions that was cut, but they canceled this. They canceled this as part of an ongoing restructuring, and that was reported in March of 2025, March of last year. This is the last we clearly heard about it. After that, there was another report that was put together by Jason Schreier, or shortly before this report. Jason Schreier did an analysis of Warner Brothers' full games division, looking at the whole thing, figuring out what everybody was working on. So Monolith, of course, you can see was described here. This was eventually canceled and shut down. Warner Brothers Montreal is still doing something. Avalanche, of course, is working on many Harry Potter things. So this is expected to be kind of their baby, their moneymaker. But then we come to Rocksteady. Rocksteady is one of those weird things where this studio should be making them tons of money. This should be printing money, okay? Is your mic broken? No, it's just my voice. It's my throat. My throat, baby. All natural. So what is this? Well, they obviously have failed to capitalize on it. They've lost talent, and Rocksteady has burned a lot of their goodwill. They were supporting Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League through 2024, but since the end of that year, I think it was December of 2024, they put out the last season of content, the last playable character, and then they shut it down. What have they been doing for a year and a half? Well, Jason Schreier said, buoyed by the success of Hogwarts Legacy, Haddad, the guy that now has been booted out of Warner Brothers, he invested heavily in Warner Brothers' next big title, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which had been in development for more than 6 years at Rocksteady, telling staff that it could be a billion-dollar game. I wish it weren't such a common thread and trend that all of these executives who greenlight these disastrous live service games, they all are like huffing the copium of this being a billion-dollar game. Like Herman saying Concord was going to be their Star Wars. Like, what the hell are you talking about? Are we looking at the same game? But this is the thing. Like, they get those Tom and Jerry $ eyeballs on, and it just clouds their judgment. Like, they just start dreaming of the money and they lose sense of reality. It's the same thing I think that happened with Highguard, where they just saw the potential for the revenue sharing and the fact that they could all get rich, and they lost sight of reality and stopped asking critical questions. You know, it's crazy. Telling staff that it could be a billion-dollar game, he and his team greenlit TV commercials and successfully pushed for coverage of the Warner Brothers' own cable news channel or news network CNN. Yeah, they had commercials everywhere for this dude. But Rocksteady, the developer of the beloved Batman Arkham trilogy, was admired for its single-player games and had attracted employees who knew how to make such titles. Pivoting to Suicide Squad, a multiplayer shooter, was an awkward fit that led to attrition and turmoil. Late in production, Rocksteady bosses Jamie Walker and Sefton Hill left to start a new company and recruited former colleagues to join them. Yeah, they left before the ship went down and took a lot of their best developers with them, which is crazy. But this is also something we've heard multiple times. So whenever you're applying for one of these studio jobs or jobs at one of these studios, you have to remember that until the game is announced, you don't know exactly what they're working on. So you go through the job interview process, probably assuming that they're making something similar to what they've made before. This happened with, for example, Arcane Austin with Redfall, where they had a bunch of people apply for jobs there thinking they were going to work on like a new Prey. They get there and realize, no, we're making Redfall, a co-op shooter that nobody wants. And so they get hired. They're all excited. They show up to their first day of work, sign the NDAs. They go into the conference room. They see the pitch and it's like, what did I just sign up for? We're making what? And they probably are not that thrilled. They might quit after a few weeks. You know, they might walk out the door because they're not interested in making a game like that. You just never know. At the very least, they aren't as passionate as they would have been if they were working on something they actually wanted to work on. And the same thing seems to have happened at Rocksteady, where they got a bunch of people applying and getting hired because they wanted to work at Rocksteady, the guys behind Batman Arkham Knight, Batman Arkham City, and Asylum, the Batman people. And then they're assigned to make the game where they literally like kill Batman and piss on the body of the Flash, I think is who gets pissed on. Maybe it's Green Lantern who gets peed on. I don't remember. If you're like, what the hell are you talking about, Luke? I'm not joking. There's a scene in Suicide Squad, the game, where like they literally pee on one of the superheroes, members of the Justice League. I just have blocked it out of my memory because it's so dramatic. Ultimately, fans didn't have the appetite for another online shooter, and the first game and the game tanked. Rocksteady gave up plans for content after the first year, ending the story with a hasty animation that backtracked on some of the game's most controversial aspects, revealing the superheroes thought to be dead were in fact clones. Yep, it was incredibly stupid. It was the Flash? Okay. I was going to look it up, but I was like, do I really care? Does it really matter? Now Rocksteady is looking to return to Batman for a single-player game, but according to people familiar with the timeline, the new project is years away from landing. This is the last we've heard. Rocksteady is looking to return to Batman for a single-player game, but according to people familiar with the timeline, the project is years from landing. I wouldn't be surprised if they do go back and they try to kind of regain their reputation by going back to Batman, but it's important to remember that the studio is not the same studio it once was. It's changed a lot. I think there's potential for it to pop off. There's potential for it to be really, really good. It could also be just a total mismatch. What judges me, or what concerns me rather, is the fact that their judgment was so apparently off that they really thought a lot of those like narrative decisions behind Suicide Squad story were good. Like there were people that saw this and were like, yep, that's good enough for me. They're gonna love this. Okay.
Don't blow this.
Well, you're about to watch dozens of people signed off on.
For us, man. What'd I just tell you?
Wait, we don't shoot these guys here? Aw, okay, that's on me.
Oh, Christ.
Or this moment. Try to keep a straight face. Okay? Straight face.
Put it in me.
Oh, mate, bloody hell. Now you've just made it weird. Hal?
Hell no. Been there, done.
I'm the Joker, baby. Literally, dude. I hope the stream crashes, dude. For me, yeah, I feel that. When will the power go out when you need it? You know, come on. This is what worries me, is that yeah, studios who are not old guard Rocksteady can make good games. There's like Warner Brothers. They made or Warner Brothers Montreal. Great example. They literally made a Batman Arkham game and were not Rocksteady of old, you know, and they made a pretty damn good one. Arkham Origins is pretty damn good. Okay, so just because the old studio is not there doesn't mean that they would do an inherently bad job. What makes me way more worried is that the people that are there thought this was good. That's what worries me. Like there's some execution of live service games where like the game is solid enough, like it's fine, but it's just not gonna be $1 billion game. Like Marathon is a solid game. It's just not $1 billion game. You know, it's a niche shooter. It's a niche extraction game that has a devoted fan base and player base, but I don't think it's $1 billion game, you know? But I think that game is really solid. This though is not solid. Like this is bad. This is not good.
That got the scars. Did some healing. I'm not into that type anymore.
Maladaptive narcissist?
It's also again, I just can't shake it. I think it was JV said about Dragon Age the Veilguard. He put something so well that I had never really considered, but when I heard him say it, it was like, that is exactly what this is. He phrased the dialogue in Dragon Age Veilguard as dialogue clearly written by people who have gone to a lot of therapy. And that therapy language has seeped into their writing. And now you have characters talking in a way that is not how people talk. Yeah, Skill Up phrased it also as if they were talking as if HR was in the room. A similar vibe, exactly. HR in the room, therapy language. I think it's the same thing. Having a massive shark reference, like what she's saying here.
Hell no. Been there, done that. Got the scars. Did some healing. I'm not into that type anymore.
Did some healing.
Narcissist?
Maladaptive narcissists. Why would King Shark know what a maladaptive narcissist is? Like this is somebody that went to therapy, has dealt with maladaptive narcissists, and is putting that into the script because they find it relatable. But to everybody else, this is like really bizarre because this is not how they talk. Because it's funny. The other side of it is people trying to be funny. Like, I'm sorry, this little bit, now you've made it weird.
Now you've just made it weird.
It's like, yeah, we knew when he said put it in me, you don't need to say now you made it weird. Can we not? You know? So again, my whole frustration and concern is not that they are incapable of making a decent game that runs well. Clearly they know what they're doing when it comes to animation quality, cutscenes, all of that stuff. My concern is that they thought this script was good. And that's harder to change, you know? That's harder to change. We saw with Dragon Age Veilguard, they got rid of pretty much the entire writing staff. So everybody who is credited as a writer on Dragon Age Veilguard no longer works at BioWare. They either left or were fired across the board. That's one way to fix this. As far as I know, the writing staff from Rocksteady that did this is still there. Like, do you really want a Batman Arkham game where like half the game is about Bruce Wayne going to therapy and like talking through his daddy issues? Like, I don't know if that works that well. So I'm more concerned about that. You know, it's not inherently that the old guard is gone. That I think is a piece of it because there's a lot of expertise that's lost with that. But I think that more generally, there's a concern over the fact that they thought this was good. You know, if I go to a restaurant and the main chef is not working that night, the food's still probably going to be pretty good. But if the chef that's replaced them for the shift has horrible taste in food and like maybe has no sense of salt, can't taste salt, so over salts everything, even if they're otherwise very well capable and equipped, because their perception of what's good is so skewed, it's probably not going to be to my liking. You know, I'm just hungry. I'm realizing I'm bringing up food metaphors. Yeah, we need to explore Wayne's origin story and his parents. I don't know. Maybe they're just going to go on a remake tour and they'll just remake like Asylum and they'll remake City and that's what they'll do. Honestly, that's probably the easiest thing. Batman Arkham City, I think, could benefit from a remake, probably more like a remaster. But yeah, I don't know. He took my thing.